Good afternoon, dear students. I'm Ms. Mulungu. I would like to welcome you to the presentation of English 4. This presentation covers the subject content in brief and some general guidelines that I want everyone to keep in mind when preparing for the 2018 examinations. Please note that I will not discuss all the content of the study guide, but I'll touch on some of it in order to help you prepare for the upcoming exams. Please, when you study for the exams, use the study guide to prepare you. I hope by now you have a good idea about the subject, as you have written as an assignment already, and I hope you have started preparations for the exam. Let's move on to the first slide, which is on literary terms. We'll start off with comedy. A comedy is a story or a play or a movie with a happy ending. The next term is a simile. A simile is a comparison of two unlike things using the words such as or like. You can, for example, say she is as kind as a child, or she is as pretty as a rose, or she's angry like a monkey. This is a comparison using words such as like or as. The next term is personification. When you personify, you give characteristics of human beings to inanimate things. An example I can give here is when you say the birds are singing in the trees. The birds are not really singing, but we use that word to refer to the sound. But the word sing is actually a human characteristic. The next term is irony. When you are ironic, you say something opposite to what you really mean. An example I can give here is when you tell a child, for example, that you did a very good thing after they have messed up the house. Or you tell a learner that you did really well, but the learner has actually failed. Irony can also refer to any event contrary to what would naturally be expected to happen. For example, in a story or in a play, a character is displaying bad behavior. For example, it is a character that commits crime, for example, or a character that swears, or a character that is rude. But the turnout of events will be this character is liked by everyone instead of being despised. This is also called irony. The next term is a metaphor. Just like a simile, a metaphor is also a comparison of two things, but you don't use the terms as a or like. You just say that something is. So when you say someone is a fox, that just means that this person is cunning. And when you say she is a pot that you use on open fire, you just mean that this person is dark or black. The next term is tragedy. A tragedy is a play with an unhappy ending. An example of that I can give is a story in which, let's say, people are in love and they work well together. They don't have any problems in their relationship, but at the end of the play, one of the characters dies. That is quite an unhappy ending, so it qualifies to be called a tragedy. Let's move on to the next slide, which will discuss the benefits of using drama for language teaching. The first point is drama helps stimulate the imagination and promotes creative thinking of the learners. When you read a story to learners, you might wonder, what is the benefit? When you make children do role plays, you wonder, what is the benefit of it? So the same applies with drama. What do we get from there? The first thing is it stimulates the imagination. How does it stimulate? As the learners are doing the plays, as the learners are acting out plays or doing dramas, they learn to use their imagination. They put themselves in the feet of the characters. They pretend to be the characters. Or if you read a drama to them, they will start imagining what will happen next. So it helps stimulate their imagination. The next thing is it promotes language development. When learners are doing a drama, they talk a lot. In order for the learners to be able to act out a drama or a play, it means they have to use language. That will help the language develop. They will have to communicate. They will be forced to communicate. So their language will develop as time goes, as they learn how to act out dramas. The next point is it heightens effective listening skills. Let's just say when you are acting out a play or a drama, you have to listen to what the other character says. Otherwise, the conversation will not be normal. You might respond to something that is inappropriate. So you have to listen to what the character says so that you know that, okay, my next line is this or that. So practice listening skills. The next point is it strengthens comprehension and learning retention. It helps you remember. When you practice, you have to know the lines by heart. So it helps with retention of material and also strengthens understanding. The next point is increases empathy and awareness of others. Through plays or dramas, the characters normally go through some things. Let's say a character who is perhaps disliked by others. When you do role plays or dramas, the learners will get to know how others feel. They will become aware of how others may feel when they are in such situations. Because when you do dramas, you pretend to be someone else. Doesn't really mean that what is in the drama is what you are going through. So when you do that, you learn or become aware of how others feel when they are in such situations. The next point is reinforces positive self-concept. Let's say a character in a play or a drama that the learners are acting out went through some bad things in life, and eventually they get up on their feet and learn to and overcame such issues. The learner themselves will also know that, okay, I can also do it. I know I'm going through some problems, but what if I stand up for myself, I stand on my feet and try hard for my life? And then they'll start appreciating themselves. The next point is exposing the learners to the target culture as well as the social problems a society may be undergoing. Normally, characters in a story go through things, and there are some dramas where you find that certain cultures are dominating, or you find that some social classes are dominating. Let's say, for example, a movie or a drama with poor people, a drama with rich people. They go through certain things. Now, if learners watch or do dramas with the same things, they will be able to be aware, since they are exposed to learners or characters with a similar problems. The next point is communication skills and appreciation of literature. When learners are doing a drama, they communicate, they talk. And in order for a learner to communicate while acting out a play or a drama, they will have to listen to what the others are saying, not only hearing. So communication here is enhanced because a learner is forced to listen to the other learner when they are acting out a play. The next slide is on components of a literary work. We'll start off with characters. We have many characters, many types of characters. The first one will be the protagonist. A protagonist is what we refer to as the main character in a story. Normally, most of the events revolve around this character. We also have an antagonist, which refers to a character that works against the main character, not wanting them to succeed. For example, in a love story, the protagonist will be the one maybe that is falling in love, but the antagonist will be the one that will try to get in the way so that love relationship doesn't materialize. We have minor character, which often provides support and illuminates the protagonist. You'll find that in a story, there's a main character and some other characters maybe who come in here and there, but they are not there throughout the whole story or throughout the whole movie, just at some points. Those are called minor characters. The next character is the static character. This one is a character who displays the same behavior from the beginning of a play or a story to the end. But the dynamic character is a character that changes in an important way. For example, in a play or in a story, there might be a character who does a lot of dangerous things, like killing people or stealing and things like that. But this same character is the one who starts changing and becomes a good person, stopping with the ill behavior. Let's move on to the setting. The setting is normally described as the time and the place where a literary piece takes place. It can also be based on the mood and the intention, as well as the characters. The setting can be, for example, in a room. It can be in a peasant's hut. It can be on a beautiful summer. It can be in the afternoon. And it can also be like in the year 2015. That is the setting. The next component is the plot. A plot is a sequence of events in a story. What happens first, what happens next, and what happens last. A sequence of events. The next component is conflict. Conflict can actually be defined as a disagreement within oneself, between two or more people, between a person and an organization, and so on. So conflict in a story can either be internal or external. there can be a character who wants to make a decision but still cannot come up with a final decision because they have conflict within themselves. They don't know whether they should go ahead or they should just let it go. That is internal conflict. External conflict can be conflict that you involve in with another person. For example, when a character and another character go in a fight, or when they disagree about something and an argument erupts, or so. It can also be between the character and the circumstance. For example, a character who really wishes everything is good for them, but what the situation that they are actually are in is the opposite. It can also be between a character and the society. This one can be, for example, when a character chooses, for example, to pursue studies in education, for example, but what people really want is doctors or nurses. So it becomes a conflict because what the society wants is not what the character wants. The next component is the theme. A theme is the main idea of a literary work. We can normally perceive this through the message that the writer or the author or the poet is trying to get across to us. We have different themes, not only the ones that I'm going to mention, but we can have a variety. A theme can be, for example, love, it can be hatred, it can be death, it can be life, it can be beauty, it can be anything. It all depends on the content that you are provided with in a poem or in a story, novel or drama. The next slide is on lesson preparation. In an exam, learning objectives and basic competencies and learning outcomes will be provided for you. There is a space for that in a lesson plan. But in assignments, you will need to look for the prescribed syllabus yourself. You can get that one on the NIED website, and it's for free. You can just download it and print and use it to complete your assignments when you are requested or asked or expected to complete a lesson plan. Please don't come up with your own learning objectives and basic competencies. They are provided. There's a part in the lesson plan which is called the presentation of lesson. This refers to how you are planning to carry out that lesson. Is the lesson going to be, maybe the first part is going to be a class discussion, and then in the end it will be individual work? Are you going first to hand out scripts and then the learners answer the questions? How exactly do you plan to give your lesson? That is what presentation of lesson refer to. And the last point there is English across the curriculum. That is also part of the lesson plan. And that includes content from all other subjects or all other areas. In an English lesson, you can add content from natural science, for example, or content from social studies, or content from mathematics. So you can take any content and use it for your English lessons. So if you are teaching learners, for example, to read, you can use a text from social sciences. That's what English across the curriculum mean. In conclusion, I would just love to advise you not to try to memorize everything. Rather read, study and understand, and then that will make it easy for you to answer questions in the exam. When you memorize, you are bound to make mistakes. Not all of us are good at memorizing anyways, so don't try to memorize everything. Read instructions carefully to make sure that you understood and answer and give the answer that is expected of you. And make sure that your answer is complete. Don't leave out questions. Look at the number of marks allocated per question or part of question to make sure that you give enough content. And please look at the verbs. If a question says discuss, please do discuss, don't list. Learn and understand the verbs of thinking. Please write as neatly as you can to make it easy for the tutor to mark, and use your own examples as far as possible to show that you have understood the content of the study guide. And the last thing that I want to say now is I wish you luck with your exams. Put a lot of effort. Thank you very much.